You are with the big story today here. I'm Seher Zama. On focus, cases of negligence by BMC-run hospitals, but the civic body's refusal to pay enough compensation to the affected families. This is India's richest civic body. The BMC in the latest says it can't pay 10 lakh rupees of compensation from its annual budget, which is of 30,000 crore rupees. Compensation that needs to be paid to this family who lost their loved one due to a civic hospital's negligence of an earlier case of January 2019. Rajesh Maru's family has been fighting a court battle for over a year, waiting for this compensation. But the BMC in its defense says it has no compensation policy in place. Recently, parents of a 3-month-old boy who lost his arm at yet another BMC-run hospital which caught fire have also protested, demanding enough compensation from the BMC. These are two cases that have come in. In the earlier case, which is with respect to the Nair hospital case, which was a court case now with the Bombay High Court, in a final deadline for giving compensation to the victim's family, Rajesh Maru, who was visiting a patient in the hospital who got sucked into the MRI machine and killed last January. The High Court made it very clear that there is a 10 lakh rupees compensation that needs to be paid to the family by the BMC. The BMC has missed its deadline. The deadline further extended to the 22nd of November, but the BMC has chosen to challenge the High Court order, go further up to the Supreme Court. I'm going to throw this open to our panelists this afternoon in just a bit. But first, going across to our correspondent Disha. It is crucial to first get in a voice from the affected family, an absolute shocker that has come in on how the BMC has chosen to treat this case. To refuse compensation, to contest this in the Supreme Court. Disha, please go ahead. Get us those voices from the concerned family. This is not just a shocker, this is an absolute insensitivity from a civic authority which is the richest in the country. This is well within its budget to compensate.
Well, absolutely, Seher, and it's the loss that the parents here are suffering, the relatives are suffering for the last 1.5 years. The parents moved to court only demanding that the accountability should be made here. The people who are actually responsible should be held accountable here. The negligence was of the hospital staff authorities, but why it was not supervised? Because Nair Hospital comes under the BMC. We'll try and speak to the relatives here. He's the father of the victim here in concern, Seher, and he's the relative, the cousin brother. We'll try and speak to the father first. Thank you so much हमारे चैनल पे बात करने के लिए. आप बताइए, बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट ने ये महीना सितंबर में डायरेक्शन दिया था बीएमसी को कि 6 हफ्ते के अंदर आप लोग को 10 लाख रुपए एज इंटरिम कॉम्पेंसेशन देना चाहिए, बिकॉज बीएमसी की तरफ से जो थी, हॉस्पिटल की तरफ से थी, वो गैर जिम्मेदारी हुई थी, तो आप लोग को उसके लिए मिलना चाहिए. अभी तक वो हुआ नहीं है.
अभी तक जो गैर जिम्मेदारी से मेरा राजेश का ये हो गया, बेदरकारी से ऑफ हो गया, उसके हाई कोर्ट ने हमको ऑर्डर दिया था बीएमसी को कि भाई सितंबर तक का उसका 6 हफ्ते के अंदर 10 लाख रुपया जमा करवा दो. अभी तक किया नहीं और हम लोग ने अप्लाई किया हाई कोर्ट में कि भाई हमारे को 10 लाख रुपया मिला नहीं. तो अभी उसके ऊपर स्टे ने बीएमसी वाला स्टे लाने को देखते. अभी मेरा तो बजट बेटा गया, अभी किसके ऊपर क्या.
Is trying to make a very important point here that till the time when the 6-week deadline was on, at that point in time the BMC approached the Supreme Court challenging the Bombay High Court's order, and here he's trying to say that at one end they're trying to get a stay from the Bombay High Court's order, which is completely insensitive. We'll try and get to the relatives पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू एज वेल, आप बताइए आप किस तरह से इस सब चीज़ को देख रहे हैं, क्योंकि हॉस्पिटल स्टाफ नेग्लिजेंस पे था, उसके वजह से जो है आपके भाई की जो है वो जान गई, और अब जो है बीएमसी बोल रही है कि हमारे पास कोई कंपेंसेशन पॉलिसी नहीं है, हम 10 लाख रुपए नहीं दे सकते। सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक उन्होंने अपील किया।
लेकिन मैडम सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक उन्होंने जो अपील किया, लेकिन सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ऐसा नहीं बोला है कि आप 10 लाख रुपया मत दो, ऐसा ऐसा करके स्टे नहीं दिया हुआ है। तो भी बीएमसी इन लोगों को रखड़ा रही है। आज इन लोगों को बीएमसी की बेदरकारी की, नायर हॉस्पिटल के जो स्टाफ मेंबर्स हैं उनकी बेदरकारी की वजह से इनका बच्चे का डेथ हो गया। आज डेथ होने के बावजूद भी बीएमसी आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट जा रहे हैं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट और हाई कोर्ट में जाने जो पैसा वो खर्च कर रहा है, तो इन लोग गरीब लोगों को क्यों नहीं दे रहे पैसा उन लोगों को। और स्टे लेने की बात करें, अभी उन्होंने हाई कोर्ट ने वापस हम लोग ने पिटीशन किया, तो हम लोग को बोला कि 2 दिन में रिलीज़ करो पैसा 10 लाख रुपया। तो आज तक 2 दिन भी हो गया, आज तक पैसा उन लोगों ने रिलीज़ नहीं किया है मैडम।
Another important point, the victim here, Rajesh Maru, in concern, he was the only sole earning member of the family. You can see the parents are very old and he was the only sole earning member. So it is very important to know it's a grievous loss, of course, for the parents as well and for the relatives. And at the end of the day, now what we know that the Bombay High Court has given a final deadline to the BMC here in concern to pay at the earliest, either till today, which is 20th of November, or maximum by 22nd of November, which is Friday. But the BMC stands very strong, saying that they do not have a compensation policy. They have gone to the Supreme Court, and the matter there will be heard on 25th of November this year, Seher.
That's right. This is very clearly a question of no immediate relief in the face of a tragedy and avoidable accident here with respect to what the hospital, the manner in which the hospital was being operated. Let me throw this open to our panelists. We have Dr. Archana Sabnas, medical legal consultant. We also have Mr. Ravi Raja, who's the leader of opposition in the concerned civic body, that being the BMC. First to you, Mr. Ravi Raja. We'll get into the specifics of the second case concerning this issue here as well. But shockingly, why doesn't BMC operate with a compensation policy? Why is there no compensation policy in place? Does the BMC feel that their work in every area, be it infrastructure, be it running of hospitals, be it maintenance of roads, is so spick and span and perfect that they don't need a compensation policy for its people?
Myra, first of all, I would like to say that this case which the BMC is handling and the way they are handling, it is a insensitive and apathy on the part of the BMC when the High Court has asked them to pay the compensation and given a deadline. I can't understand that why the BMC is not doing that. Now the question which you asked, see, last 2 years we have been, I have been raising the issue about the compensation policy. There should be a policy, and on record this has been brought to the group leaders meeting where the policy is made. So the BMC has been insensitive to see that the compensation policy is not there. You know, people have, because due to the fall of tree, people have died. Because of the bad road, people have died.
That's
because
right.
of the negligence on the
Mr.
part
Ravi
of the
Raja,
BMC,
you're within the BMC. You're in opposition,
So,
but you're within the BMC. You're part of the BMC. The BMC is not taking a listen into what the other opposition, what the largest opposition within the civic body has to say either. Are you saying that as an opposition you are as helpless as anyone on the street?
No. See, being in the opposition, this issue has been raised, and few days back regarding what happened in KEM hospital for the Prince Rajbar, when I took up the discussion in the House. Now today, I would like to say that today we have got a group leaders meeting, and in that meeting, the policy for the compensation is going to be made and announced today evening. So I think, but it is too late. They should have done this 2.5 years back. And when BMC has got a deposit of more than 75,000 crores in the bank, and when they are earning 4,500 crores as the interest, So there should be a compensation policy in place. I be in city of Mumbai,
That's
where
right. And you're
the
saying there is
accident and
going to be
incident
another
takes
meeting
place because of
regarding
the
this
negligence on the part of
this evening itself. But it is far too late. Let's get in a word from Dr. Archana here on this. Yes, doctor, in your view, now this is a concerned, grieving, affected family, old parents who are at this stage of their life, having lost their young son, the only earning member, are running from pillar to post. And when they finally got justice from the High Court, the BMC, shamelessly wanting to deny that, goes to the Supreme Court. As an affected family, what other options do they have here?
See, first of all, this being a pending case before Supreme Court, it is not good on my part to comment anything on this case. But then, only arresting some of the doctors or ward boy is not going to solve this problem. We have to look at this problem at two levels. First is compensation and second is prevention. Now, compensation, if in the case of Prince, they have offered 5 lakhs of compensation. So, I don't think there is any material in there say that there is no compensation policy. You cannot say that in this case we don't have compensation policy and in this case yes, we do have compensation policy. So, policy has to be uniform. Secondly, now if we look at the patients who prefer to come to these municipal hospitals, they are always from low economic status. So, if you do not compensate them, where these people will go? There has to be some machinery to look after them, to give them compensation. So, I think they have one option open is of consumer courts, and the consumer court is a place where they can get compensation. But again, as I said, we have to
I would like
consider.
to come in, Myra.
Again, as I said, we have to consider the angle of prevention as well.
All
now,
right.
in this case,
you go to consumer court, you go to High Court. I mean, High Court being no less, there is a compensation that has been instructed by the High Court. Mr. Ravi Raja, please hold your thought. I need to go across to my colleague Tanima, who's there with more details pertaining to not just this case, the second more recent case that has come in here from the KEM hospital here as well. Tanima, this is with respect to the KEM hospital. It's yet another tragedy of negligence at a hospital once again being run by the BMC.
That's right, Seher, as you were mentioning that these are two back-to-back cases that we are tracking in which you can see that there has been a case of negligence, but the hospital has not really done much. The civic body, BMC, which heads these hospitals, has also not really done much. Let me, your question was of course related to the KEM hospital, but we will also just quickly recapitulate what happened in January last year with the victim whose case we are following today. Now, if we just look at how exactly did the victim in this case, Rajesh, lose his life. It was a freak accident which took place, but nonetheless a case in which the hospital seems to be clearly responsible for the negligence. Now, the victim was not even a patient in the hospital. Last January, he visited Nair hospital in Mumbai, where he was in fact going there in order to visit an ailing relative. Then the hospital staff actually asked the victim to go inside the MRI room in order to get an oxygen cylinder out of that room. And once he stepped inside the MRI room, he was pulled in by the magnetic force of the MRI machine. Of course, it was operational at that point in time. The machine was functional and it was switched on, but the operator or anybody else, any hospital attendant, did not warn the victim, Maru, when he went inside, and the oxygen cylinder's nozzle broke. He inhaled a huge amount of oxygen, and as a result of the impact of the shock of the magnetic force of the MRI actually pulling him in, and the oxygen that he inhaled in large quantities, he died. If we look at the next case, that of course is in January last year. If we look at the case which has just been, we have been following recently, of baby Prince, 3-month-old Prince had in fact been taken to KEM hospital by his family. In that case, on 5th of November, he was admitted for a congenital heart disease. And after that, on 7th of November, an ECG cord, while the baby was admitted over there, an ECG cord catches fire and the baby's the left arm gets burnt. He sustains around 22% burn injuries, following which on 11th of November, the infant's arm has to be amputated because of these injuries. And on 13th of November, a case of negligence is filed against KEM Hospital. We've, of course, seen the family there protesting, demanding compensation. The BMC general body meeting, after mulling over the demands, also said we are ready to give 5 lakh rupees, but the parents have not accepted that. We still have to see what comes of it. But nonetheless, Seher, the point we are trying to make here is there's no compensation policy in the richest civic body of the country. A High Court order which has directed them to pay 10 lakh rupees compensation has been ignored. And they have now moved the top court. We will, of course, have to wait for that hearing on 25th. But nonetheless, isn't it high time now that the BMC, the richest civic body, actually has a compensation case in place, as we can see multiple such cases being reported over the course of these months?
Tanima, many thanks for taking us through those details. Both these cases being similar in the sense that the family, these hospitals owe compensation. The BMC owes compensation to these families who've been affected. Mr. Ravi Raja, you say that there is going to be a compensation policy very soon in place in the KEM case where the baby, 3-month-old infant, loses his arm. 5 lakh which was announced by the BMC after public pressure, a mere 5 lakh rupees. What is going to be taken into account in this compensation policy? What kind of brackets are going to be discussed in compensation? 5 lakhs is peanuts.
Naira, let me inform you that, if there is no compensation policy, I would like to let you know that about 3-4 months back, you might have heard of an incident happening in Malad, where there was a wall collapse and nearly 20 people died. And immediately, the then Chief Minister of Maharashtra came there and announced that each person will be getting 5 lakhs. So, in that case, 20 people has been given, each 5 lakh has been given. So, here we can say that, somewhere the BMC is having a policy as per the incident or the accident taking place. And when you can pay 5 lakhs for the people who have died in Malad, when there was a heavy rain and there was a wall collapse, and then now in this Rajbad case also you are paying 5 lakh. So I think the BMC administration is only paying on the basis of the incident and accident taking place. But as your question is that what will be all this will be discussed today, and I think my view in the meeting will be there that the compensation should be given as per the earning of the concerned person. Regarding the Rajesh Maru case, I went personally to the Nair hospital and I saw what has happened. In that case, he was the only person who was the person who's earning for the livelihood for his family. So, the 10 lakh compensation which has been told by the High Court to be given, I can't understand why the BMC paying, spending so much on the lawyers and going to the Supreme Court. They should have immediately paid the money, deposit the money to the victim and, they should have settled the case. But, sometimes BMC, there are executive people who are handling this. There are additional commissioners who are handling this. So that, for that purpose, today this compensation to discuss and see that, the compensation policy is there. And mainly regarding the recent incident, what happened in KEM. Now if you see that little boy, his life is ruined. And just giving 5 lakh, what is going to happen? You should have a compensation policy.
Yes, that is what the family is arguing for a child, for an infant who's lost his arm. 5 lakhs is not going to be enough because his entire life is affected. But Dr. Archana, are you hopeful of what Mr. Ravi Raja is saying, that the BMC is now sitting and talking about a compensation policy? A body such as obstinate and arrogant as the BMC, which refuses compensations in any given case. Not just this, there was even in the Mahol case where the residents have been asking to be moved out or to be paid compensation because they're falling sick or to be paid rent in the form of compensation. The BMC is far too busy still fighting that case in court, not taking into account a human tragedy. Are you hopeful anything good is going to come out from the BMC here on this?
Megha, I think life lost is lost. Whatever amount of compensation you pay, it's not going to get back the son of that mother or elderly couple. So life lost is lost. So civic body has to give good compensation, and on the top of that, I feel that preventive part is very important so that these sort of incidents should not recur now. Now their problem can be at multiple level, whether the machine was defective, whether the electric supply was defective, whether maintenance was not proper. Yes, in one case you can ask for the compensation, you can pay the compensation, but what about the life that is lost? We don't want any such more incidents. So BMC has to compensate, and BMC has to take good preventive measures. Unless and until you have preventive measures, these things are going to happen. And yes, compensation
Mr.
of
Ravi
5 lakhs,
Raja,
I
as an
don't think
opposition in the BMC, is the opposition going to be putting a deadline for the BMC to be out with this compensation policy? Because you're saying this is, of course, already far too late in the day. But if you're sitting only today to discuss the nitty-gritties, are we looking at a few years down the line till we finally have a compensation policy out?
No. No, today when we come out, there should be a compensation policy. That will be my role in it, and I will see that, today when we sit with the mayor and all the other people, with the commissioner to discuss this, today will be the date where the final compensation policy should be come out, and see that there is a compensation policy in the BMC so that, any accident or incident takes place. And this is happening because of the negligence on the part of the BMC. It is their duty. And why they are, running away, and why they are so insensitive about this matter? You are the richest person. You are the richest body in all of India, and you have got so much money. You can pay money for the consultants.
Yes.
You can pay the money for any work, for the consultation. Every year, the BMC pays around 100 and 150 crores only for consultation, for the consultant. So why can't you have a
yes, the BMC
policy
has
for the
enough money.
compensation?
No, that is an established fact. No one's arguing whether or not the BMC can afford compensation. It's not a question of affordability. It's a question really about the BMC being humane about these issues. The BMC working for the people, a civic body, and yet being so brutal. Let me take in a final question here from our correspondent Disha. This is from the concerned family here, Disha. We're getting an information that the BMC, we're hoping today, by the end of today, is going to have a policy, a compensation policy out in place. Does that give any hope to the family? Does that help their cause? Or they're still going to be stuck with the court here on this?
Well, let me take that question straight to the family here in concern. अभी हमको ये खबर आ रही है कि BMC आज एक मीटिंग उन लोग तय करेंगे कमिश्नर के साथ और बीच में सब डिस्कस करेंगे कि कॉम्पेंसेशन पॉलिसी करके है वो लागू होना चाहिए ताकि ऐसे जब एक्सीडेंट्स हो तो जितनी भी फैमिलीज़ हैं उनको कंपेंसेट किया जाए. आपको लगता है, आप होपफुल है कि ये हो पाएगा, कि आपको लगता है कि वापस BMC कोर्ट का दरवाज़ा ही हमेशा खटखटाएगा?
वो ये नहीं हो पाएगी. वो BMC कोर्ट का ही दरवाज़ा ही खटखटाएंगी. ये जो है ना खाली कोर्ट को दिखावा के लिए मीटिंग हो रहा है, बाकी वो ये पॉलिसी वो लोग तय करेंगे नहीं. क्योंकि अभी यहाँ KM हॉस्पिटल के अंदर भी आपको मालूम होगा कि वो जो एक हादसा हो गया वही सेम करने वाले ये वो मीटिंग सिर्फ बतावा है उन लोगों का, बाकी कुछ करने वाले है नहीं वो लोग.
बराबर बोले.
Okay, all right.
So, Sahar,
well, I'm
here
afraid
we heard
Disha
the
will...
family in concern. They are quite
Yes,
not
we'll...
hopeful about this at all.
Absolutely. We'll have to leave it at that. And the reason why they're saying this, because there is a breach of trust. There is an absolute shock and a break of trust here. with respect to how the BMC is going to handle this case. Two cases here, other cases of infrastructure dilapidated in the past as well. Well, enough compensation or no compensation given by the BMC. Today we are asking if they're finalizing their compensation policy, it should take into account brackets that need to be set as well. For a person who's affected for life, a 5 lakh rupees compensation, not enough. For aging parents who've lost their young son, the only sole breadwinner, a 10 lakh rupees compensation, not enough. The BMC needs to be more large-hearted, more fair than that. Thank you for being with us.